say a 25% increase across the board on tariffs. Tit for tat from both sides.
Boeing is being hit with its first worker strike in 16 years.
So Boeing, big disappointment to me. Big disappointment.
The bond markets finally blew the whistle on Donald Trump's game of chicken with the stock markets. First, they were down.
He terrifies the Europeans.
It didn't start with a crash. It started with a cancellation.
On the morning of May 7th, 2025, a discreet message landed on Boeing's executive floor in Chicago. The subject line was brief: Ryanair withdrawal. The impact, colossal. Europe's largest low-cost airline, a key Boeing customer, had just halted its next round of jet deliveries, not due to safety concerns or performance issues, but because of price, specifically tariffs. And the finger was pointed directly at the White House. Before we dive deeper, smash that like button to help us beat the YouTube algorithm and show your support. In a letter later leaked to the press, Ryanair's executives didn't mince words. President Donald Trump's latest tariffs had fundamentally changed the financial terms of their Boeing deal. Unless the costs were offset, deliveries were on ice. That was just the first domino to fall. By midday, 3 more airlines followed suit. A major Turkish carrier demanded a pricing review. A Latin American airline requested delayed payments, and an African state-owned carrier paused all new talks, citing price volatility tied to U.S. economic policy. Inside Boeing's suite, panic was brewing, and it had been for weeks. Trump's trade war wasn't just talk anymore. It was a shockwave. A 25% tariff on all aircraft components, 145% on goods from China. No exemptions, no carve-outs, no heads up. Even Boeing's closest allies were blindsided to see the aerospace sector caught in the crossfire. CEO Kelly Ortberg, who just months earlier had downplayed concerns about the administration's protectionist policies, now found himself in the eye of a growing storm. At first, Ortberg kept his cool. Back in January, he told Reuters that Trump was pro-jobs and Boeing, a quintessentially American company built in the USA and exported worldwide, would be spared. He figured tariffs would hit foreign competitors, not Boeing. But by March, that optimism crumbled. Trump's tariffs weren't selective. They were a sledgehammer. They were scrambling. When the European Union caught wind of the U.S. tariffs, their response was ruthless. The EU unleashed a 100 billion retaliation list, and Boeing's passenger jets were front and center. Civil aircraft, once untouchable due to their strategic importance, had just become a prime target. Before we dive deeper, smash that subscribe button to support the channel. Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg didn't waste a second. He called an emergency board meeting and started working Congress for an exemption. He warned lawmakers that the EU's tariffs could cost Boeing over $3 billion in lost orders by year's end. But Boeing wasn't the only one sounding the alarm. United Airlines, FedEx, Alaska Airlines, every major U.S. carrier was flooding Capitol Hill with pleas for help. If Boeing faced higher taxes in Europe, jet prices would soar. That meant pricier tickets, spiking cargo rates, and a dangerous shift. Airlines might turn to Airbus. The real threat wasn't just tariffs. It was losing market share. Meanwhile, Boeing's supply chain started to crack. Small Canadian suppliers stopped shipping after a 25% tariff hit landing gear assemblies. A German avionics company halted production, waiting for clarity on tariff rules. A Japanese electronic supplier bailed on a long-term contract, citing unstable terms. In South Carolina, Boeing's Dreamliner plant began stockpiling parts, bracing for a logistics freeze. In Wichita, engineers were tasked with finding U.S.-made alternatives for tariff-hit components, many of which didn't exist. Across the Atlantic, Airbus was making moves. Reports emerged that Emirates was quietly revisiting talks with Airbus for more A350s. Air India, once close to a Boeing deal for wide-body jets, was now asking both manufacturers for updated pricing. The message was loud and clear. Boeing was exposed. But this wasn't just about economics. It was political. France and Germany branded the U.S. tariffs as economic sabotage. The European Commission warned that without a deal by July, Boeing jets could face retaliatory duties as high as 25%. Airlines buying from Boeing would either pay more or force Boeing to eat the cost, a cost that was staggering. Internally, Boeing estimated an average hit of $3 million per aircraft for a 100-jet order. That's a $300 million margin wipeout. Worst of all, Boeing's hands were tied. The Trump administration showed no signs of backing down on the tariffs. Trade officials warned Boeing's lobbyists, American companies must adapt. But adaptation isn't easy. China's export ban on rare earth elements, critical for flight controls, power electronics, and jet engines, has left Boeing stranded. Without these materials, production is slowing. Some assembly lines are grinding to a halt and competitors are closing in. China's COMAC is slashing prices to lure buyers. Brazil's Embraer, rebounding from a failed Boeing merger, is winning back customers in Africa and South America. Even Airbus, Boeing's longtime rival, joined forces with them in a rare statement urging the US and EU to ease tariffs before the aviation industry collapses. But the damage is already here. At Boeing's Renton plant, overtime's been cut. In Charleston, hiring's frozen. Suppliers are reeling from canceled contracts. One supplier told Bloomberg, "We've been with Boeing for 30 years, but if this continues, we're done." Inside Boeing's headquarters, tensions are rising. Some executives push for price cuts to save deals. Others demand standing firm and seeking tariff exemptions. CEO Kelly Ortberg is stuck in the middle, balancing shareholder value against a political storm. Congress isn't helping. A Senate bill to exempt civil aircraft from tariffs fell 3 votes short. House Republicans from manufacturing states begged Trump to lift aerospace duties. The White House fired back, threatening to double tariffs if Congress meddled. By May 7, 2025, the strain became too much. Ryanair canceled 3 deliveries outright. Delta paused its 2026 orders. Lufthansa signaled it's holding off on wide-body purchases until the tariff mess is resolved. This isn't just a policy debate, it's a commercial disaster. At a private investor meeting, Boeing's CFO admitted that if tariffs persist through 2025, revenue could drop 10%. If China retaliates, further losses could double. One board member reportedly said, "We're being sacrificed for a political point. That point is costing jobs. Layoffs are spreading. A Texas wing manufacturer cut 100 workers. An Arizona cabin supplier shut down temporarily. A Missouri metal fabricator slashed 2 shifts. The industry is bleeding, yet Trump stands firm, declaring at a press conference, 'We're protecting American skies. If Boeing can't adapt, someone else will.' That someone might be Airbus, or worse, COMAC. As Boeing stumbles, customers crave stability in this tariff war. Boeing's position is crumbling. If this continues, the next big order might not come from Seattle. It could go to Shanghai. For the first time in decades, Boeing's dominance isn't guaranteed. It's a question, and the answer is still up in the air. And that's the story of how tariffs turned Boeing's world upside down. What do you think? Can Boeing bounce back, or is this the start of a bigger downfall? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that subscribe button to join the crew. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.